Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised I wasn't asked why I'm convinced Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block. On a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At Enchain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts. Basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Alrighty people, it looks like we are live. The time is just coming up to quarter to 7 on Monday, the 26th of July 2021. Welcome to Satoshi TV, aka Bitcoin SV TV, aka It's Just Bitcoin. So I'm very excited to announce that CoinDance is back up and running. Check this out, we didn't have a chance to look at this morning. Oh, I missed this. Let's have a look at that. Transactions 74%, that's hilarious. 94% of the overall block size, amazing. Let's have a look at these blocks flowing through the chain. Here we go, look at this, megabyte sizes. 12, 112, 46, 4, 27, 2, 3, 1, 3, 19, 39, 12, 5, 5, 15, 49, 20, 12, 37, 4, 15. Oh, look at that, we got 2 blocks by Tau that are under a megabyte. 77, 34, 136, 105, 998 kilobytes by via BTC. But look at that, followed by a 255 megabyte block from Tau. Absolutely love what I'm seeing here. Love what I'm... Whoa, what's this? Oh, that can't be right. That can't be right. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. BTC pulling a drooper. There's no way hash rate would have been that low like that. That's hilarious. Well, you know, we'll let them off. What do we want to have a look at? We want to have a look at... Oh, look at this. Oh, come on. Come on. Seriously. Daily average Bitcoin block size, man. Eric, let's have a look at this comparatively. I normally have this set up, but because this is the actual news show rather than the chart show... months, that'll do. So 3 months. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, indeed it is. Love what I'm seeing there. We want growth. Look at that. Look at that. Where are we now? Let's do this. Energized when I see these. Come on. Look at that. So we're now at 427 gigabytes. 434 gigabytes even. Good grief. Yeah, 434 gigabytes. All right. So let's see where that is in relation to how far we are in front. 77 plus gigabytes now, I suspect. Look at that, 77.89 gigabytes in front. Absolutely massive. Let's have a look at the mining hash rate. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Just want to check it out. Okay, cool. Glad we've seen that. Right, now we can crack on with the news. So this article has caused a storm on Twitter today. So this was published 26th of July by Reuters. Tether executives said to face a criminal probe in bank fraud. Well, if you ask me, I mean, the market's all in the green at the moment. I think this is people cashing out of Tether. That's what I think. So let's see what this says then. July 26th, the US Department of Justice, DOJ, is probing whether executives behind the Tether digital token committed bank fraud during the nascent stage of its cryptocurrency business, Bloomberg reported on Monday. The probe is focusing on events from several years ago when Tether, a stablecoin launched in 2014, was in its early stages, the report said. The agency is examining whether Tether concealed from banks that transactions were linked to crypto, the report added, citing 3 people with direct knowledge of the matter. Tether routinely has open dialogue with law enforcement agencies, including the US Department of Justice, the company said in response to the report. What a load of crap. It is business as usual at Tether, and we will remain focused on how to best serve the needs of our customers. Oh, shut up. More like how to best line their own pockets. A spokesperson for the DOJ declined to comment. The stablecoin universe is so far dominated by 2 main tokens, Tether and USD Coin, which is USDC. Tether accounts for more than 60% of the total stablecoins issued, worth about 100 billion, reported by Niket Nishant in Bengaluru and Chris Prentice in Washington. Okay, right, cool. Our standards, the Thomson Reuters trust principle. Okay, so that's interesting. So there's more of this on Decrypt. This is their article now. So yeah, Tether execs facing Department of Justice probe for alleged bank fraud. I wonder if this is just a like a repeat editorial. Let's have a look. The Department of Justice investigated whether or not Tether executives have committed bank fraud. Bloomberg, yeah. Federal Reserve. Federal prosecutors are focusing on Tether's early days. Sounds exactly the same, like we just read. There's a little bit different there. Tether, the stablecoin, the type of cryptocurrency that is pegged to a currency. Tether claims its stablecoin is backed by the US dollar. If the DOJ were to bring criminal charges to Tether, it would likely mean one of the largest steps in the crackdown of the crypto industry, given how important Tether is to the wider ecosystem. In theory, whether a user deposits a US dollar into Tether account, Tether, the company, mints one Tether, the stablecoin, in return. While most of the cryptocurrency industry is prone to wild and unpredictable price swings, turning away investors wary of the inherent risks, Tether's US pegged dollar allows a stablecoin to be used to buy and sell other cryptocurrencies. Right now, there is over $60 billion worth of Tethers in circulation. Oh dear. Tether's critics. This news comes roughly 2 months after Tether received intense criticism over the breakdown of its reserves. Despite previous claims that Tether was backed 100% by cash, figures showed that less than 3% of Tether's reserves were held in cash. In light of the news surrounding the DOJ's investigation, Tether released a statement saying the company routinely has open dialogue with law enforcement agencies, bollocks, including the DOJ, yeah right, as part of our commitment to cooperation and transparency. When Tether released its breakdown of reserves in May this year, it was the first time these figures had been released since 2014. Dear oh dear. I just don't see how they're going to get away with it. I don't see, no judge is going to believe their bullshit, unless the judge is paid off. I suppose it could happen, but I mean, that's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Right, so let's crack on with some of these then. This is Bitcoin or central banks. Craig Wright on triple entry accounting. All right, let's do a quick deep dive in this then. Here we go. Michael Werman. So, at the CoinGeek Zero conference, financial cryptographer Ian Grigg alone, with others, discussed Bitcoin SV's capabilities concerning accounting. Following the panel discussion, it became obvious that the BSV blockchain can enhance efficiency for accounting in general. Grigg said, "If I lose my record and you are the only one with the record, you can now play against me. You can change it. You need a third party to stamp and hold that record. But then blockchain came along. Bitcoin came along and it was literally a triple entry system." Beautiful. So far, so good. But Grigg also said that instead of using Bitcoin as the third party point, one could use central banks. Well, yeah, but you've got to trust the central banks. And they're not all trustworthy. Triple entry itself does not require blockchain. We just require some sense of an honest central player, a trusted third party. There are many trusted players out there. For example, if we were a set of banks and we wanted to do triple entry, we could quite happily use the central banks as a third party because we have to trust the central bank. We have no choice. Yeah, but we've already seen the central bank doing, $8 trillion of off-balance sheet transactions. So off-balance sheet transactions means where are they? Can't see them. Can't trust the central bank. Neither the Federal Reserve nor the European Central Bank have ever been audited. Ever. That is why we need Bitcoin. Because you need somebody to oversee the trust of the third party. Otherwise, they'll just run a mockery. As we've seen many times before, absolute power corrupts absolutely, which is what central banks do. Now, this is interesting. Grigg's example even works beyond the set of bank scenario. It basically boils down to the question of whether to trust central banks or not. What kind of money are we going to use in the future? A free market money or CBDC? Concerning accounting, the same question seems to occur in the long run. Who is the trusted third party being used in the triple entry accounting of the future? Bitcoin or central banks? Met in at ICU, Joel Daly and myself had the chance to discuss Bitcoin and triple entry accounting with Dr. Craig Wright. I passed on the question concerning central banks in triple entry accounting to Dr. Wright. There is no robustness in central banks. That's the whole problem here. In 1991, the concept of time chains first came out, which mirrors the concept of PCI. You get to a point where the lowest common denominator sets what happens. So if the weakest part of the central bank gets compromised, everyone is compromised, said Dr. Wright. Absolutely. So central banks are an attack vector, but Bitcoin is too. Which one of these two would be harder to attack though? Not sure. Bitcoin is hard to attack, but so are central banks. It needs to be a distributed competitive system, said Dr. Wright. Absolutely. A distributed and competitive system, we can work with that explanation. Bitcoin is a distributed system, a competitive system. Central banks are competitive systems too. Central banks versus other central banks. But a central bank is not a distributed system. Each central bank is to be seen as a single entity. As Grigg said, banks have to trust central banks anyway. But why is that the case? Because right now banks deal based on central bank money. Banks could deal based on any money though. Think back to banks dealing based on gold and grain, history of banking. The discussion with Dr. Craig Wright contains a whole lot of other Bitcoin related topics you might be interested in. Feel free to have a look at the table of contents. Double entry bookkeeping in intro by Craig Wright. Nations needing money for wars. Absolutely. Gold and accounting history. Adoption speed of double entry accounting by the rest of the world. Secrecy and information. Today's free flow of information. Craig Wright was an accountant. Justice and bookkeeping. Triple entry accounting explained by Craig Wright. Benefits of triple ledger accounting system such as Bitcoin SV. Bitcoin is a triple entry ledger and Bitcoin when world collapses. Alright. Great stuff. So there we go. That's the link with the discussion with Dr. Craig Wright on YouTube. Excellent. I might have a look at that later. Great stuff. Quite enjoyed that article there. Yeah, nice. Let's have a look at tech. See what's going on. BSV is a store of value. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Bitcoin classes Satoshi floating point in S script. Blockchain attacks and reorgs. Yeah, we read that one yesterday. All right. So there was another one I wanted to look at, I think. Let's have a look here. TFX reduces MAC there, blah 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 blah. Bitcoin futures to limit leverages. Uniswap delists 100 tokens from interface, including options and indexes. Well, we'll definitely have a look at that one then. dear, oh dear. New rules could permit Korea government to seize tax evaders' crypto. Yeah. Global crypto ATM installations have increased by 70% in 2021. People are going to get absolutely wrecked. Like, absolutely wrecked. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. So let's see what's going on here then. Uniswap delists 100 tokens from interface, including options and indexes. Synthetic tokens and tokenized stocks have made it onto Uniswap's labs blacklist as regulatory concerns mount, as indeed they should. The world's leading decentralized exchange, Uniswap, has announced the delisting of a number of tokens from its app interface. Uniswap Labs made the announcement. See, look, Uniswap Labs are taking them down. How can this be a decentralized exchange? It's so stupid. There is always someone in centralized control of it. It's ridiculous. Uniswap Labs made the announcement on Friday, emphasizing that the tokens had been removed from the app interface only, and that they're removed from the app interface only, and that protocol remains immutable, or whatever. These changes pertain to the interface at app.uniswap.org. The protocol remains entirely autonomous, immutable, and permissionless. Yeah, quotes by them, absolute crap, total crap. The company Uniswap Labs is the software developer that has built the front-end web app portal. The front end is separate from the Uniswap protocol itself, which is autonomous code that was released as a public good. In the blog post, Uniswap Labs hinted that increased regulatory pressure may have influenced this decision, surprise, surprise, stating, "We monitor the evolutionary regulatory landscape." The company also describes the move as consistent with actions taken by other DeFi interfaces. See, look, it's always like what other people do. The tokens that have been delisted from the platform's interface include instruments that may be a risk as being classified as securities. They're all securities by a regulator, including tokenized stocks, options tokens, insurance-based tokens, and synthetic assets from crypto derivatives platforms like Synthetics. Gold-backed token Tether Gold, which is XAUT, is among the assets targeted. However, Uniswap founder Hayden Adams attributed Tether Gold's removal to buggy code. Surprise, surprise. Meme-themed tokens, including Grumpy Cat, had also found their way onto Uniswap's blacklist. The reaction from the crypto community saw Uniswap's purported decentralization called into question. Well, exactly, it's not decentralized. Industry observers such as Chainlink God asked why Uniswap holders did not get to vote on delistings, tweeting, "Not very informative here. Was this decision made through governance vote? No, clearly not. If not, this opens a whole can of worms and sets a terrible precedent." Honestly, these people are so delusional about what decentralization means. Honestly, absolutely nuts. But coin is shit for brains. You can explain it to them until you're blue in the face. They will never get it. They will never get it. Uniswap is currently the leading decentralized exchange by trade volume, with the protocols V2 and V3 versions facilitating a combined $1.45 billion worth of trade in the past 24 hours. Oh my god. Oh my god. $1.4 billion worth of trade in 24 hours. Regulatory pressure on the crypto sector is mounting across the globe, with Binance and BlockFi recently incurring the wrath of the authorities in the United Kingdom and the United States, respectively. As reported by Cointelegraph on Thursday, the Texas State Securities Board has joined its counterparts in New Jersey and Alabama in taking action against the crypto lending platform. Vermont became the fourth state to issue an order against BlockFi on July 25th. The net is closing in on these scumbags. Good grief. Ha ha ha. Well, what's this? Is it time for US to create a Ripple test for crypto? Let's have a quick look at this, shall we? That sounds funny. The SEC's approach to crypto must be modified more clearly, modified to more clearly articulate how securities laws should be applied to digital assets. In the same way as the Howey test. Most crypto enthusiasts are less than pleased with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, because they're scammers, past approach to crypto. This is not because legitimate businesses oppose regulation, but because of the breadth, complexity, and uncertainty associated with current regulatory regime. In the context of general discontent, Few actions by the SEC have engendered as much widespread criticism as the December 22nd, 2020 complaint that initiated a civil enforcement action against Ripple Labs and 2 of its executives. Hold on. While we're here, let me just find my lovely video. For anybody who regularly listens to my show, I'm sure you're going to be familiar with the one we're about to pick up here. Here we go. David Schwartz, Chief Technical Officer at Ripple Labs, explaining that XRP is an absolute piece of centralized garbage.
The XRP is a digital asset. It's censorship resistant. It's publicly traded. It trades on the XRP ledger. Ripple does not own or control the XRP ledger in any way.
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
So how did Ripple then get all the XRP that it has? It has about half the supply. So just how did that particular transaction happen?
Good question. How did Ripple end up with half the supply of XRP?
So the way its design works is when the ledger first began operation, the 100 billion XRP, all that will ever exist, were sort of up for grabs.
100 billion? 100 billion? So they got 50 billion? You got 50 billion XRP. How on earth did you end up with that? That is ridiculous. Shout out to Keith Fellows joining me in the chat box. Thank you very much.
And lots of people grabbed XRP out of that system, but it just so happens that obviously, just like early miners mined, huge amounts of Bitcoin before the public knew about it or was using it, early XRP users grabbed large amounts of that pool of XRP. And so the people who developed the ledger wound up with, the vast majority of it.
One more time, David.
People who developed the ledger wound up with, the vast majority of it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So not everyone opposed to the action. For example, Coin Center, a pro-crypto non-profit advocacy and research group, declined to argue against the idea that XRP is a security. In my previous excerpt take, I suggested that the case was consistent with prior SEC enforcement initiatives and the Howey investment contract test, simply known as the Howey test, which has long been used by the SEC to determine whether crypto assets are securities. On the other hand, there are plenty of voices condemning the SEC's case. These include complaints by the former SEC official Mark Powers, current SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, and a pending lawsuit arguing that Ripple's XRP token is not a security, what a load of crap, in which thousands of XRP holders have sought to participate. The Regulatory Transparency Project, a non-profit, and we all know that non-profits are basically a way of laundering money, a non-partisan group associated with the Federalist Society, sponsored a teleforum on June 24th titled SEC vs Ripple Labs, Cryptocurrency and Regulation by Enforcement, with a pre-enrollment of more than 500 members of the public. The audience was overwhelmingly unhappy, because they're all XRP holders, and unimpressed with the SEC's action against Ripple and its XRP token. Well, is a criminal going to be happy with the police when they get caught? No. This general dissatisfaction with the Ripple case often indignates as regulation by enforcement has led some to call for the development of a Ripple test, what a load of crap, and more clearly articulate how securities laws should apply to crypto assets in the same way. Who's calling for a Ripple test? The label of Ripple test might have first been used in a specialist post from December 22nd, 2020, falsely claiming that the SEC was abandoning the Howey test in favour of an approach that reportedly required new companies to operate for 8 years to find out how, if what they're doing violates securities laws. However, more thoughtful commentators have joined the call for a Ripple test to prevent businesses from operating for years without knowing whether they might be called into court for having run afoul of US securities laws. On May 18th, Rosalind Layton, a senior contributor and well-respected technology policy writer for Forbes, publicly called for a Ripple test to stop the SEC's overreach onto cryptocurrency. That's outrageous. Part of the overreach she identified was the SEC's claim that it could initiate an action reaching back to sales that started more than 7 years ago, potentially leading to a fine of billions of dollars. Layton's response was that those 7 years have a broad public record of refusal by the SEC to provide any clarity over XRP. She noted convincingly, that during those years, the SEC declined to announce how it intended to treat Ripple's XRP token, probably because they didn't know. I mean, cryptocurrencies and all that were new. It'd never come across blockchain before. How are they meant to know? Since the original piece in Forbes, several other commentators have joined the call for a Ripple test. One published opinion, authored by George Nethercutt Jr., a former member of Congress, noted recent calls to establish a more appropriate standard for technologically complex digital assets have turned into a firestorm since the Ripple case was filed. Some tech policy experts closely following the case have called for a Ripple test to replace Howey. This is outrageous. This is absolutely outrageous. Look at all this shit that they've written. Oh my god. Conclusion: these suggestions may be another version of a Ripple test. They may be seen as modified utility token tests, or they may be regarded as something else. Regrettably, given the SEC's actions to date, it will probably take an action of Congress to move regulation in this direction. Nonetheless, the need for a clearer, more reasonable path to regulatory compliance is illustrated by the SEC versus Ripple, where no fraud is alleged, yet the SEC waited to bring an enforcement action of more than 7 years after the company began selling its token, because they had no idea what it is. How are you meant to know? It's just digital numbers on a screen. Unless you actually look at the back end and know what the back end is, there's just no way they would have known. There's no way they would have known. And also, you've got to wait for douchebags like David Schwartz to come out with those clangers to really get to grips with it. It's just like, oh my god, this is an absolute piece of crap. An utter piece of crap. Dear oh dear. So anyway, that would do. We'll leave that there. 26 minutes. Hope you enjoyed the show. Anybody else listening, please put your paymails and chat handles in the chat box. Let's do this. It's time to rock and roll. Let's do this one for Keith Fellows. Here we go. Sending money. BIG for big blocks. There we go. Swiping to send on the way. Got it. Love it. There we go. Right, guys. There we go. 26 minutes. Hope you enjoyed the show. As ever, be aware. Take care. Stay safe out there. Joy given. Catch you guys later. Get paid for posting your pics on Relica. Download the app now at www.getrelica.com. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. Buy BSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Support independent content creators on micropayment platforms such as Streamanity, Twitch and Relica. We should profit from our data, not the large corporations who track, monitor and sell it. If you enjoy the Bitcoin content that I produce, please support me by heading over to www.satoshi.tv, where you can keep up to date with all the latest news, gossip and content as it's created. Thanks very much. To get started in Bitcoin, go to freebsv.com, where you can claim your free Bitcoin. Then head over to Twitter and follow @IamSatoshi, where you can take part in his very generous and world famous free giveaways. The future of advertising meets the power of Bitcoin at Tonic Pow. Get paid for posting advertising campaigns to your social media profiles. Go to www.tonicpowads.com.